DEriq King, what do you see out of him? What impresses you about his game?
And Christine, while the other top quarterbacks are maintaining a machine that's already built, DEriq King is really building an offense from scratch.
Yeah.
And so he looked at last year's team, saw that they couldn't protect the quarterback at all. So he's the perfect quarterback for this situation. When he sees an opening, he's not going to wait around to see if they got better. He's going to go.
Yeah.
But he's got the ability to do it. But even when the gate doesn't open, even when everybody's in their gap, he can beat you too. And this is a situation where he knows this guy's coming, but he lures him in to trick him. Now he acts like a punt returner, not a running quarterback, where he beats everybody individually as he goes down the field. A nightmare as a runner for defenses. So what defenses try to do is they get everybody up along the line of scrimmage to keep him from breaking out. Make him win with his arm. The thing is, he loves that because he's got a very good college arm. And just when you think you've got him beat, he will find that one soft spot in the defense to gouge you. This is what DEriq King does, but he does it with a different set of skill around him with a different purpose. He's building up from nothing rather than taking a machine that's already awesome and keeping it going.
Harry, I haven't really heard you talk about DEriq King at all. What are your thoughts about his game?
The thing that I love about his game is that he can do a little bit of everything, and he does a little bit of everything well. His versatility is something that, to me, it works best in college football because to watch somebody really just exert their athletic gifts over an entire defense in his case is incredibly fun to watch. I mean, look at that throw right there. And even some of the ones that Trevor was highlighting off balance, like you have to be a different kind of athlete to make the plays that this guy makes. And honestly, I know you love your Miami Hurricanes, and this is a hell of a guy to have on your team.
Here's my question, because we've done this show I don't know how many times, and we talked about him the first show that we did, but we haven't really talked about him since until today. So do you feel like we should be talking about him more, Trevor?
I think so. I mean, he had an unfortunate outing against Clemson earlier in the season. A lot of people thought, well, therefore, he's not really a candidate. Yes, he is, and he'll have more opportunities as the season concludes to show people that he should be a guy with the potential for not going to New York, but at least zooming into New York.
Okay, so let's talk about this. There are currently 15 FBS games that have been canceled this weekend. There's 6 in the top 25. Harry, you've been talking about this from the jump, even before we started this show, how much COVID is going to impact the college football season. So how do you feel like this is really impacting the Heisman candidates? We saw Trevor Lawrence obviously not being able to play for 2 games. So how much do you think that impacts people's chance to win the Heisman?
I think it definitely is a big factor, and I think it's a factor in many different ways, right? Like let's just take Trevor Lawrence, right? He's in the conversation. He's at the top of the conversation. We're expecting him back soon, but you also have to hope that, he doesn't have any lingering side effects from this thing.
Yeah.
We still don't know everything about it. And then obviously the voters, so, each voter is probably going to look at this thing individually. Like, how much stock are they going to take in time missed? How much stock are they going to take in, more specifically statistics this year? So, it's really a crapshoot at this point. But, I really hope we get to the end of this thing and everybody's okay.
Yeah, Harry, I think one of the big things, too, is stats. A lot of voters look at statistics. And when you've got guys like Justin Fields, who has an abbreviated season anyway in the Big Ten, now loses his first game. They may have another game canceled before it's done. That will impact statistics, and that may have an effect on some voters.
You mentioned how people have abbreviated seasons this season. When you think about that, is there a minimum number of games that you think an actual Heisman candidate needs to play?
How about 3? See, I think Heisman voters shouldn't look at the stats. I don't think they should. Not this year. They shouldn't look at games played either, unless it's, under 5 or something like that. They need to look at what guys do with the opportunity that's presented with them. And do they have their Heisman moments in the limited opportunities that they have? Right now, you've got a scenario where the ACC is probably going to have the most games played of any conference.
Yeah.
Does that mean that ACC candidates should have an edge? I don't think the voters should think of it that way.
So, obviously, people, we've talked about this throughout the whole entire sports season, right? Should there be an asterisk next to this season because the season is we haven't seen anything like this before. It's unprecedented. Harry, do you feel like if a Heisman winner comes out of this, should you say, but there's an asterisk next to their trophy?
Yeah, I'm not going to go down that route. Honestly, simply for the fact that we have decided to go through with this season. So, if we do that, then we got to start putting an asterisk next to the national champion, all these different kinds of things. And so in my mind, I understand the idea of wanting to do that, and I wouldn't necessarily blame people for doing so. But at the same time, we're here, we're playing the games, and at the end of the day, you're supposed to pick the best player from the season or in the country. And I think even in some limited circumstances, some more than others, you could still pick that.
Harry, I think if someone puts an asterisk next to this season from a Heisman or a championship standpoint, that's lazy. It's lazy. I mean, how hard is it to excel in this kind of a crazy season with the limited spring ball, limited summer practice, all the weird stuff going on? It's harder to excel now than it ever has been. I think that you should get a lot of credit for finishing a season, for excelling in a season like this. So, yeah, it's unlike any other. It's different from any other, but an asterisk implies that for some reason it might be a little lesser than any others too. It is not lesser. I think we'll look back on this season from an individual and team standpoint as one of the most difficult seasons in the history of college football.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.